So we got Shaman. What a surprise. Haven't been seeing any of them on ladder recently. We are still pre-nerf, so I guess people are getting in their last games with the Shaman before it gets nerfed. But we still set up pretty well against it, and this is a great opening hand against Shaman. Let's get the Mana Worm down and see what he can do against it. We've got Loot Hoarder turn 2, and then if he gets that Totem Golem down, then Cult Sorcerer or Arcane Blast help take care of it. Alright, so Rockbiter Weapon is going to take care of my Mana Worm. Be glad when that costs 2. And we'll get that Loot Hoarder down and start building the board. Alright, so Spirit Claws is a bit of a pain to deal with. You never really know whether it's going to be 1 or it's going to be 3. So for instance, if I drop down my Cult Sorcerer here, I'd be dealing with the situation where he could hit the right totem and be able to take it out. So I like just drawing the cards there, keep the Cult Sorcerer back. I've got a hand that sets up really well for a combo a little later. Got a couple of the spell damage dudes and Flame Waker, Arcane Explosion, so like all that stuff sets up pretty well for that. So it was a pretty good Tuskar Totemic there. Gotta love the nerf that we won't have to deal with this sort of thing in the future. So the question is whether I try to take this board now, get the Loot Hoarder out, or the Cult Sorcerer. Could try and Hero Power, but it's not going to give me that much value. Definitely get the Loot Hoarder out there, because he's a pretty disposable minion they have to deal with. Probably gets taken out by the Spirit Claws, though. And the question is whether I want to play Possum here or try and take the board early. So I'll get the Cult Sorcerer down and take that out. Saves a little bit of damage, puts him in a bit of a tough spot. So if he tries to attack in with that Spirit Claws and he doesn't have the spell damage, then he can't take out my Cult Sorcerer, and never mind. I was thinking maybe I'd be able to survive and take out that Flame Tongue Totem. Sitting there lonely on the board, but as it stands, he now has a pretty dangerous board. So, alright, so that's a pretty good draw. I've got 2 spell damage minions in my hand. He's got a board full of 3s and 2s. So, if I wait 1 turn, then I can set up the Arcane Explosion with 2 spell damage dudes and get his whole board for 3. So this might be an appropriate time to play Possum. So like throw out the Azure Drake, force him to deal with it. It doesn't look like you're playing Possum. He might commit a little more to the board, and then I could really wipe him out with that double spell damage Arcane Explosion play. And the nice thing with that, as opposed to something like Flame Strike, is that you end up with multiple dudes in play, and he's got to deal with them. So it's nice because you get some additional pressure instead of just clearing off your opponent's pressure. Alright, so this is perfect. He's going to take out my Azure Drake, probably with his Spirit Claws here. I'm going to take a little bit of damage, but he's going to add to his board and give me even more value off this Arcane Explosion turn. And at the same time, I get in some damage to face, so I'm still up on face. I don't know why he didn't use his hero power there. I'm assuming he just forgot, but it doesn't really matter. Whatever he would have got would have died right about now. Alright, so that's the power of Arcane Explosion right there. That's how this that card just turns around boards. That was going to be an awfully difficult board for me to get onto. He's got a whole bunch of minions. They're all pretty big. I can take out one of those totems, but the other one's still going to be able to do a lot of damage. Alright, so the Maelstrom Portal is quite good too, and helps get him back on the board there. Got a few options here. Kind of sucks that I don't have my spell damage dudes on the board, but I can drop the Azure Drake into a Frostbolt to get rid of the Totem Golem, and Azure Drake should still be able to hold that board pretty well. Alternatively, could also go for something like Barnes, but I think the Azure Drake is the play. And draw into a second Frostbolt. That's going to be useful. I still got the Flame Waker and a couple of spells, which could be helping me set up for a nice turn. Swing the board again if I need to. And all right, I'm more than happy to see that Hex come out. He's down to 2 cards in his hand, so he's starting to run out of gas, and we should be able to swing this board back. So the question right now is whether we go for Barnes or Flame Waker. See what Barnes gives us. Yes, okay, I'm good with that. That helps out a lot. So he's gonna die, but before he does, I got to get some value here. So see what Arcane Missiles does. All right, fair enough. Let's get rid of that. Get a couple more fireballs. All right. So we're looking good here, boys. We're looking good. Flame Waker, and I got some spells. So next turn, I can play the Flame Waker, Frostbolt, Fireball. I assume my Archmage will be gone in an instant. But Barnes looks like he can help to keep the board under control too. And he's only at 20 life. I've got 15 points of burn in my hand too, plus some additional from the Flame Waker, so I should be able to pressure his life total pretty soon here. Or I can use one of those fireballs on that thing. So that's pretty fine. He doesn't have much of a board there. The Thunder buff can be very, very damaging if he's got a much bigger board than that. But luckily he doesn't. And that's the reason, or part of the reason, why you try to keep the Shaman's board under control. You don't want to end up having those cards like Thunderbuff Valiant come down and get value off 3 or 4 totems. I think my Flame Waker's actually going to survive another turn. No, guess not. And that one more Hex. All right. Well, I still have Fireball to take care of the thing from below. And of course I draw Archmage Antonidas because that's how good I am. So let's take out that totem. I don't want him drawing any extra cards. Thing from below will probably run into my frog. And the only question is whether I go get an extra fireball for my Arcane Missiles. Kind of leaning that way. So, doesn't take anything out, but that's fine. I got the fireball I needed, and he scoops. All right. So, that's how you take down a Shaman.